drawing might not be, what is this on? Oh, there we go. I'm like, what is this sitting on top of? It's moving around too much. Here we go. So the view that you see of this is not going to be the same that I see. I see it, you know, you got to come over and around to the side and look from this view to see what I'm seeing. So I see a little bit more of the left side of her face. I see more of the shadow side of the apple. I see more of the shadow side of this. So do I want to go vertical? Do I want to go horizontal? Right now, I don't want to touch this, so I'm definitely choosing horizontal. And if I'm thinking about what's easiest for me to see, for you, your view in the camera, the apple's a little bit closer. I think it might be slightly closer, but these two objects are pretty similar in depth for me. Maybe I'll go like this. Just move him down and closer just a little bit. So I'm going to make that apple sit down over here in this corner. And I might have a little too much medium because as soon as I draw this, some of it's disappearing right away. But I'm going to wipe it away anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. So there's my apple. There is a light shadow division line right here that divides the top. That's wipe away from the shadow, so I'll leave that. There's a shadow coming over and off of that and out to the side. We always want to show the base of our object. Where does the object touch the ground? I don't want you to chop that part. I don't care if you chop off stuff at the top or the left or the right. Show me the bottom. I want to see where it sits. This comes over to about here. Then I have the can vertical, so I want to try to draw my straighter line. It's going to get a little bit cropped off. I'm going to measure. I'm measuring the angle between the bottom of the apple and the bottom of the can. The can needs to come up just a little bit. Then it goes up. And the top of the apple and the top of the can is more of a difference. So the can might be about this tall. And most of this right side of the can is in light and reflecting this yellow. So I'm going to set this down. I'm going to do a little bit of wiping right now just so you can kind of see it. I'm going to steady this with my finger up here because when I press, this is going to move. So this is a time where you need to kind of just be aware of where is your hand, where's your rag, how much pressure are you putting. Some of these easels, if you went through and did this, the canvas would just flip and then it'd fall on the ground and then you have oil paint everywhere. So just be aware of that. So that is kind of the start of where the can is going to be. I'm going to maybe do that top part of the apple. And if I accidentally go outside of where that's drawn, that's okay. I'm going to redraw this anyway. I'm mostly trying to establish, if you kind of squint and look at what you see, you're trying to establish the light and shadow pattern more than the drawing right now. We'll get the drawing later. Almost everything after this up and around the apple is in the light, so I'm going to wipe it away. Outside of that shadow, there's the edge of that shadow shape. There's a little tiny part of light in between the two. Try and get a clean spot on here. I'm going to put my finger in the middle of this, so now I have like a smaller point to wipe away with. There we go. So that's the light that's in between her and the shadow of the apple. There's a shadow underneath her before we get to where that is, somewhere in here. Most of the light on the neck. I'm going to just kind of skip the drawing part here and I'll draw it with the paint. That's the neck. The chin's maybe in here, mouth, nose and cheek somewhere over here. It's okay if I move outside of the zone that I was trying to get to. There's a light in between the can and the side of her neck, which is over in that corner. It's not that shape, that's too big, but that's okay. I'm going to pull across that chin a little bit this way. Same thing with the mouth, the nose, the cheek up here on the left gets some light as well. So that's my kind of first two steps. I scratched with my whatchamacallit, back of my brush. Then I started to wipe away with my rag. This is pretty coated right now. I don't think I want to use this too much. You can see I'm starting to get some paint on my hands. Maybe just take one more look of, there's a light over most of this white of her that's the brightest is on the left side, or right side, sorry. So I'm going to kind of take and put a little extra pressure over here to pull away just a little bit more than maybe some of the other areas. So this turned from something where we were trying to control it and draw with the back side of our brush into something that's pretty abstract. It's not super correct. It's not super detailed. That is the point. So you are going to go through and let that happen. Don't be afraid of this. This is kind of like letting go of control to come back and gain the control again, okay? So now, all I'm gonna basically do is probably use brown plus some medium and kind of start to redraw. I can also double check and see, I'm gonna put a little bit of medium here in the middle. This is like more like the Galkid Light than it is like Neo Meg right now. The one other thing I will wipe on is over here, the blue wall has a lot of light on it. So I'm going to just very lightly pull some of this away. Not putting a lot of pressure. I want this just to be like a middle tone. Maybe some of the side of her cheek is a middle tone. Some of the reflection on the apple. That's better. I like that better. So if anything, this is even more difficult to understand than less. I can see you have a big glare. Let me see if I can sit this. There we go. That's a little bit better. If I stand it vertically a little bit more, a little more than that. Don't lean back. There we go. Now you can see, right? Correct? Yes. Perhaps.